I'm back at it like a bad habit. Let me tell you this. I had to run to this Israelites on 3rd Avenue. Right? I was in there trying to buy something, whatever, in the electronic store. And they was standing in front of the store. They was preaching. And I'm sitting there. And I just want to go up to him and tell him, I said, listen, pack your stuff up and go. It's time for you to leave. Enough preaching. It's over with. It's a metaphor. You read in a blank book. You cast out. You're not allowed to know how the world works. This is how the world works, right? What if I told you that everything that's written in the book, that's a metaphor about Jesus, about Moses, about Mary, all these stuff, Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel. You know what I mean? People don't understand. Adam is the sun, the risen sun, the sun that's shining right now. That's the sun. Eve is the moon. So all this stuff y'all hearing about is about the metaphor about the sun and the moon. So when people say, oh, Jesus, and they talk about the story about Jesus, oh, he's the risen sun, he's the spiritual light, or he's the enlightenment of his knowledge and his words. Yes, they talking about the sun. So it's a symbolic symbolism. It's about a metaphor based on a sun. Put it this way. I was going to tell this Israelite dude, right? He don't understand the story about dark-skinned people in India, right? In Egypt. And people that's in Egypt that work in the sun said that that's the most powerful being in the world. This being is the sun. It's the sun that shines on us, and we work it in the sun, and the God sees everything. That's why Egyptians wear eyeliner and makeup and wigs and all that stuff to keep themselves from being overcooked by the sun. So the sun and the moon is basically a metaphor. It's a symbolic thing. It's about they using men and using women and using all this stuff as a metaphor of the sun. So when they say, oh, he's the son of God. No, they talk about the sun in the sky. Sun is the God. And the guy that you talk about, Jesus, as in Ethiopian, or he was Ethiopian, had wool hair and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. He's a prophet. People don't understand what a prophet is. A prophet goes around and trying to speak and preach and all this other stuff because he's telling a story. And this story that's been told, and all these 4 gospel people that you talk about was the one that was manifesting, because the gospel people, like I said, the Bible is the greatest story ever told, because it's like reading your newspaper. So when you read your newspaper, reading your Bible, reading something that you go to a play, and you reading that transcript, and it's telling you a story. When you pick up a book, anybody that has their own perspective to what happened thousands of years ago, you reading the story because you've been given a blank book. So this blank book is basically you thinking that, oh, let me come up with my own story. Perfect example. If you give a kid a blank book, crayons, what the first thing they're going to do? They're going to scribble, scrabble, and make up a little man or whatever it is in their little imaginary mind. Just the same way how these people do in the temples. And these people that's in the temples, that's on mushrooms and hash and all that stuff, they read in the Quran, they read in the Bible. It's all a story. It's about something that a man created so that he could give you a platform. That's what the Catholics gave to you. That's why when you join these temples, you see the Quran book and you see the King James book. And the Quran and the King James is all based on to people reading a story. You don't get it. So everything was given to you. I don't give a damn if you're a Jehovah's Witness. I don't care if you're a Catholic. I don't care if you're a Mormon. I don't care if you're Islamic. I don't care if you're Christianity. I don't care whatever you are. Whatever 3 religions you're part of, you are basically just going to rely on a story. So all these people these ministers and all these other people out here have been given a book, a degree from a government, because that's all it is. And the Hebrews and the Jewish people decided to say, hey, let's teach people and give them a platform. Let's give them temples. Let's give them anything we want, because the Catholic Church gave it to you. So the Catholic Church ruled to all religions. That's why you see Jehovah's Witnesses in church train stations. And that's because they on Catholic land in New York City. So when you see people say, all right, we're going to treat you, you're going to be our foot soldiers because of the Catholics and the Greeks, because they move into the New Testament. So in the New Testament, and what they writing is based on still on the sun, because no one is paying attention to the sun and the moon. That's why Jews and Hebrews and they basically wait until the sun set, because when the sun set after 6 o'clock, they live by the moon. Get it? So Adam, Aten, and all these people that you see, that you hear about in the Bible, are all about the sun. And it's all about the moon. So everybody sitting here and reading the Bible, trying to divine it, trying to read about the 4 Gospels and the 4 chapters and this book of the New Testament book or the King James Bible book. That's why everybody have their own book, because it's a blank book. So when Caesar decided to say in the Catholic Roman Church, and the Pope decided to say, let's give them a platform, because it's only one book, but we're going to let them create their own books. Matter of fact, let them become shoemakers. Matter of fact, let them become this person, that person. If they want to be this person, that person, let them be. I'm gonna let them be. I'm gonna let them walk the earth. I'm gonna let them walk the earth and let them create their own temples in the mountains. Okay, all right, let them create their castles. What else? The church? You want a church? Okay, all right. You want a Buddhist temple? I'm gonna give you a Buddhist temple, because that's all given to you by the Pope. So everything's all a story, and everything was just all played out, all written by a story, because Mother Cersei created a story. That's why she created movie theaters. She created church, because it's all act out. That's why you go to your movie theaters with your ticket, and you have to pay your way to get into it. That's why the Knights Templars and the Crusaders decided to say, okay, what should we do? We came back home with all this knowledge. That's all the stuff that Mother Cersei taught us. She got us drunk. She did a whole bunch of crazy stuff, just like the movie Ma, when she had the teenagers in the basement and she had them, got them all drunk and stuff, trying to put witch spells on them. It's a whole bunch of mess with this lady. But this lady decided to give them knowledge. And when they came back home, these Knights Templars and Crusaders didn't have no home. So the Vatican decided to create a trust law in 1304 or 1301 or whatever the fucking year is, whatever day was been manifested. And I sat there and said to myself, why is that people don't get it? I don't think they love the sun. Because if the sun don't rise, we're done. Imagine waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning and you see that the sun hasn't risen. Because when the risen sun comes, it's basically on to what we live by. We are spinning around the sun. That's all we're doing. And everybody creating their own theories about going to space, going to this place here, because of some guy in the 1930s want to create his own telescope and his own communication system, send out something to this Greek astrology of Zeus and the Cyprilopius, whatever what the fuck you call that shit out there and 3 million miles away. And this man want to get a signal back and think that this is a signal from someone from out of the galaxy. And you sit there, scratch your head and say, man, these people are fucking crazy. What made them want to come up with something like that? Because he got a message for something. And then Men in Black, these people that's in these societies, these agencies, came in and took the machine and said, we're going to use this as a tool. And we're going to create movies and sci-fi movies and space movies and all that stuff. And encounter movies. Remember that movie that came out in the 70s? Oh, shit. That's a message from Superlopidus. You know, I'm like, oh my God. And this message and all this stuff created a whole theory about space. I'm a Star Wars fan. I hate Star Trek because I understand who Spock is. I understand what Spock represents and all these people that's the characters on there. People don't understand what Star Trek is. You know, and these people as dreamers, they wish they could travel to these stars and go to Mars and all that, and all these Pluto planets, which is all a man. It's a metaphor. So when you hear people talk about, I'm going to Pluto, Pluto was a man. He was a person that lived under the moon. That's what Pluto is. It's the moon. So Pluto was a person that sacrificed animals, right? And then you have Mars that represents war. You know, so he was under the sun. So whatever the sun set, Mars run back into the mountains. That's why you had Capitol Hill. You know, and then you got Jupiter. You know, Jupiter is Peter. You know, pitter patter. I used to say this in school all the time. Well, you always keep saying pitter patter. That shit sounds stupid. Yeah, that's what it is. Pitter and patter. It's Peter. Peter's our father. That's what the Greek astrology love. That's the father of Jupiter. You know, Jupiter is the people that my father, my son, You know, when they say my father in the sun, they talk about the sun in the sky, and they talk about the father of Jupiter. Get it? It's a metaphor. So when they say Jupiter, you know, I've been telling people this for years, and I said pizza the patter. Oh, think of my pizza the patter. I'm hanging out with my pizza the patter today because I'm hanging out with my father. My father, but the sun is the shine. It's the God of all gods because it's surrounded by the sun. So these planets don't even exist. It's just drawn out by these artists to make you think that there's planets, but we are just seeing the sun and the moon. It's impossible to look the sun directly. No matter what, I don't give a damn what you have. You can't even do the eclipse. When the eclipse come, you have to have something to look directly to the sun. That's how bright it is. So whatever they're doing and trying to get to the sun is so far that they can't even get to it. And they think that this 3 million miles away until the communication they got back with this signal from this guy called Calvin. And Calvin decided to say, okay, I died. Let's take his machine. And then some other astrologers decided to do the same thing. And that's why we all living on this theory of the moon and the sun. So now, every planet that you see out there, and they named somebody after Saturn, right? You don't know who Saturn is. You know, Saturn is named after Greek astrology too. But the people that's in the Hebrew of the Jews represent the moon. So they have their own calendar. You got the moon calendar, the lunar calendar, and the sun calendar. That's why we rise and shine. And that's why when the 6 o'clock come, they get on their calendar because the moon is coming. So you got to understand what calendar you're on. I'm on both calendars. That's why on Monday, I say, yes, Monday is here. That's the beginning of the journey of the 7th day of the Judaism. People understand Judaism is the 7 cults of the 7 people that represent Saturn. They represent the moon. They represent the sun. They represent the elements of the mushrooms. Everything, the diamonds, the gold, everything that you see here is all about the planets that you think that exist, but it's not. It's basically about a person that was on Earth, and the moon is Mars. That's what it is. You know, the moon is the Mars. They use the imagery to go out there and say, all right, we on Mars right now. Yeah, you all right, you lying. Because if they was going to Mars and traveling to these different planets, they would have videos of showing them passing the moon. They will show their journey going past get to Mars. How many planets you got to get to Mars? 1 or 2. They're not showing the galaxy. They're not showing nothing. It's all pitch black out there because they can't get there. So basically you have to create an imagery like NASA, because NASA is still trying to send out this signal, and they think that this signal is something coming back that some guy named Calvin created in the 1930s. And I said to myself, I said, how can these people from the ancient times, these Greeks, are so obsessed with Mars and all these planets that they don't see how they even have the technology to see it? So where's the proof of a telescope to know where's these planets at? But it took to the 1930s to see where they could see into the stars. So they seeing stars, but they don't even know what it is. Just like the signal that came back. Let me tell you what the signal is. It's called feedback. Any DJ know this, what feedback is. If any two things that goes into a mix, it's called feedback. And then when you mix something together, it's a feedback that creates a whole mess of noise. So that noise is why we have all this radio. That's why they was fighting in war for this new technology, because this new technology of a radio signal will send the signals out into the airwave. That's why everybody represent the 5 pentagram star of the elements, the 5th elements. You got the air, you got the water, you got fire, and you got earth, and you got space. But the thing is, people are controlling the air, the airwaves, the frequencies. That's why Hitler and everybody else is fighting to get the message out. He said we could use this tool to get the message out. If we could communicate 3 million miles away, we might as well communicate here on Earth, instead of trying to speak to people out there where we can't even get to. And that's why it took to the 1950s to get satellites into the sky to get TVs. So if these people in the past and all the stories they made up about these people, these ancient people, if they were so ancient and so smart, why it took to the 1900s to actually create communication, cell phones, cars, or whatever it is? They don't know. That's because they made this whole thing up. It's a platform. So all these Israelites, all these people you see out there learning this stuff about the moon, they know about the sun. They don't realize that people was trying to create a foundation on a sand, which the Sahara Desert is an ocean because it's air and water. And people don't say, what do you mean air and water? That's why people see mirages. And people say, "What? How can I see mirages? You know, there's no water out there. It's dead, dead heat, dead everything. There's no living thing out there, no agriculture. But actually it is. Because everything you see is all based on a mirage. And it's actually air and water and air in the sky. Y'all don't believe this shit, right? And they figured this out years ago. But I already knew that already because I would say, oh, shoot, that's an ocean. It's just that it was a sandstorm that buried this damn pyramids that they kept stacking bricks on top because they was trying to divine the sun. So when they said the son of God, the sun is everything. I don't care what you say. They using man this and man that. And it was impossible to work in the sun. That's why they used granite and all these stones to keep the landfills cool because there was no shade. So they use the sun to keep track up to what it is, up to 55 degree or 60 degree or whatever degree it is. And this degree of the sun shines on the pyramid. You know what I mean? So it's like this. It's like okay, when the sun comes, and the motherfucking heat, and then when it comes in, yes, the sun has set. The moon is out. Now it's going to cool off because they didn't have no way of staying cool. They have to find shade. That's why they built the pyramid so they could find some way to find chambers. That's why you look at the Sphinx, it got a hole in there and it got chambers under it. And they trying to hide under the sun because it's like, oh man, it's steaming hot out here. It's burning up out here. And it could be more hotter than what it is out there into the fields. So basically everybody that served their time in Egypt is all about an ancient story of what Pharaoh had told because he survived these floods. And these floods they talking about is about the Noah's Ark. And these people that was a Noah's Ark and these architect people were sitting there and say, we showed you how to build statues and carve things and do this other stuff. Our men had such and such, did this and that and this. We need to be granted. Oh yeah, you want to be granted? Okay, all right. We're going to give the chosen. The beast is going to give you the chosen one. So all right, cool. Give them anything they want. You know, go ahead, walk back to your mountains. Go and create your temples. Hey, here's a blank book. So to all your Israelites out there and all your people out there that calling yourself righteous and want to be on the seven of the Judaism, learn to what the metaphors are and symbolism. Y'all gotta understand what the number 7 is on the compass. It's about the mountain, all mountains. That's why it represent volcanoes. So if y'all understand the volcano astrology about it, volcanoes is the resource. Some people cannot afford petrol and oil. This is what this whole war thing is about the oil, because China want to take over the oil. They want to take over this. What kind of resource we have? That's why people are worshiping the ocean. You know what I mean? People don't understand what the ocean is used for. The water resource. That's what we get our water from. Because water is the resource to what they take and process it, remove the salt, put it in a water bottle, take it, put it in the air with the chemtrails, let it spread out and let the rain come down into the ocean. And when it comes down, they give them the ingredients and say, all right, good, we can get the, that's why they don't want the oil and all this other stuff being, messing up the ocean water and all that stuff and dumping garbage and all that stuff. But guess what? Everything we drinking is from the ocean. That's why you got ocean springs. And people say, ocean spring. What do you mean by that? All that the water, everything that's liquid comes from the ocean. Anything, lakes, people say comes from the lake. No, if you're gonna get water from the lake or give it from the mountains, basically it has to come down to earth, into the ocean. So you can take it, put it in the machine, recycle it, do what you have to do, pour all the ingredients in it to remove the salt. And then when you drink it, you say, oh, there you go. Remove the salt now. Because that's why people drinking salt water. That's why NBA players don't drink water. When real water, I'm talking about, like they don't drink water when they do athletic things, you know. So it's true. So now everybody out here confused, can't preach no more. They sitting there outside trying to preach the same old crap. They wasn't out there when this pandemic was out, you know, and they was all out here trying to figure out what's the word, when we gonna get the word out. They preaching the same old stories. Same old story, same old story. They read in a blank book. I don't know if it's a King James Bible. I don't know if it's a Christian Bible. I don't know what kind of Bible they reading, but it's all governed. It's all printed out into the machines of the printing machines, because the printing machines say, okay, that's why I try to explain to you about the story of Caesar. When you got Yorks, and that's where the Yorks in New York and government over there in Brooklyn, they all got the printing machines at Bethel. Even though they move upstate, but they still got the printing machines. And they can write anything they want or any propaganda or any blasphemy they want. And then give you a book and say, go out there and preach. We're going to give you a degree and we're going to teach you how to talk, teach you how to preach, because these raps is giving you an opportunity, a platform. It's facts. Because you're in your rights. But the other rights is saying, nah, we don't care about your rights because your Yankees up here up north to what y'all did in the British country, because now the British country is going to be taken over now. And now the government is going to sit there, we back to normal. Oh, blah, 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 this and that. But let's see how long their money runs out. It's crazy. But now they back out talking. But they understand it's all a story. It's all made up. Now they're going to try to figure out the Vatican going to have to scratch their head and say, what else are we going to give these people? It's over with. It's over. They don't need to preach no more. They don't need to talk no more. It's over with. So now we have to give them something else. Let's give them something else. What we're going to give them? Okay, the central bank is shut off. Okay, the such and such, everything's digital now. What we going to do now? Now everybody out here trying to preach the same word. Now everybody want to go to their church on Sunday because it represents the Son of God. So everything you read in about Moses is the moon. When you hear about Jesus, it's the sun. The statue is in Brazil, and all these statues you see that the Catholics took is a metaphor, because they have been given to them so they can have a platform and a foundation so people can have something to live for. And now people understand that's why people kiss the Pope's ring. Thank you, Lord, for giving me this, a platform, something I can live for, so my kids can go to college and this and that and this and have an education on that stuff. And now everybody that's sitting there scratching their hands say, I got an education, but I'm poor and broke. But what else is next? Well, my son graduated from college, and what else is next? Well, you going to get a job, work in government? What are you going to do? Go out there and preach, or be a preacher, or be a broker, or somebody, a crooked person, whatever? What he's going to do? It's facts. So everybody's given a blank book, blank page, and they rewriting their own theory about everything. And this theory that they speaking, like the Israelites and pastors and preachers and deacons and your Grim Reaper, your Latin Grim Reaper. Latin means Satan. Satan means whatever. People don't understand St. Patrick, Saint this and Saint that. It was given by the Pope because anything that you do is basically trying to heal somebody. Somebody could heal the blind, you can heal this person. And yes, you can heal people with nice things and give them nice things and thank you. We heal them with some gold, just like Saint Nick. That's why the Catholics created a law and created a law where everybody celebrate and live by Saint Nick the Pisces, because Saint Nick was a person that was considerate to his community, and he was the one that was given to people and was helping people out. Oh, don't worry about it, I'm gonna bring back the goods. Just like they guard the fish god, because the fish god is the one that provide for the Vatican and the Pope. And you understand this stuff. So now all these people that you see are cast out. And they're not allowed to know because they've been given something and they think that this is the truth. But the real truth is that the Vatican controls everything. Your religion, your business, and politics. And they make a say-so to what you do and how you live on this earth. And people take it for granted because it's been given to them. And they've been spoiled on this earth and think that, okay, now we're going to have something, whatever. And then they get mad when you don't listen to them. But they don't realize it's all a story. The Quran book is all a story. The Bible is all a story. Everything's a story. Church is a story. Going to the movies is a story. That's what it's all about. A story. A greatest story ever been told to keep you well-headed, keep your head above the water. That's what they mean by that metaphor. So when they say the risen son, and they say Jesus is the enlightenment of the world, no. The God of the sun is the enlightenment of the world. Enlighten us. It wakes us up. Oh, yes, the sun is out. Good. We could go outside now and play. Oh, the sun is out. Oh, I'm going to wear my nice clothes. And then we come out. Jesus, man, you looking good. That's what the expression is about. Allah. Allah means you coming. That's what it's all about. It's a metaphor. It had nothing to do with a man. It It has nothing to do with Elohim and all these people, group of people that uses metaphors, and they use the sun god and moon gods. And these moon gods of Moses was doing everything that you say this man, these stories you hear, somebody he do things. It's all a metaphor. It's all symbolic. Yep. Cain and Abel is a symbolic. You know, Cain and Abel, able to have sex with his sister. It's all metaphor. The sun and the moon, Adam and Eve. The evening is coming, but Adam is out, or he's out and the sun is out. Or the sun, where's your son? Oh, he's right there. The sun is in the sky. There you go. You know, he's in the sky right now. Well, what's Eve? Oh, Eve is right there. That's the moon. It's evening. It's evening right now. It's about to, you see the moon coming out, right? So it's Adam and Eve put together. When the sun finally set, the moon comes out. It's facts. Yep. I'll see y'all later, man. It's all story. It's the greatest story ever been told. I've been telling people this since the 80s and 90s and 2000s. Now everybody waking up and coming to me to my Bruce, you was right. You told my son and told my father that was a passing preacher. He's sitting there talking about, yeah, Bruce, you was right. That's why your church and all your theaters and movie theaters and everything is all about metaphors and stories. It was all created by Mother Circes, the Knights Templars, and they gave y'all this because they needed a platform, something to sit on. And everybody running around here because they don't want you to know how the world is controlled. It's controlled by the sun, because that's what the illumination of the light. And that's when the Illuminati order comes of the New World Order, because we're in the dawn age. And after this is all over, they want to see how many people is alive, how many businesses is going to survive, how many people sitting there, whatever, because they all make a bet. Because that's what's all about the sun. Let's see how the sun rotates. Let's see how it goes. But when the moon sets and we wake up in the morning, okay, let's see what happens. All right, breaking news. That's why you got to turn on the news to hear what the news is telling you. Because the sun has risen. And when the sun has risen, they looking at the sun like, yes, the sun is still here. He's enlightened us. He makes me smile. I could go, like I said, you could go to the park, you go to the beach. It's 90 degrees today, or whatever the degrees it is. And everybody's out here having a good time, having picnics, enjoying themselves. Because you are springing out. Spring has nothing to do with good weather. I mean, it has nothing to do with the weather. It's about you springing out because it's been so cold that people cannot spring out. You can't stick your toe inside the water, but you can stay on the beach of the sands because you know you can't spring out. That's what it's all about. So go out and spring out. Enjoy this weather because July is coming up. You know, that's summer because summer has begun. Because summer's like 3 months? You know, we get 9 months or 8 months of cold weather. It's now getting hot. But look, it's the first day of hot. It was hot last time here and there, but let's see how consistent it stays. So if it stays hot the next day, that means the Son of God is sticking around. So when the sun leaves, we suffer. That's why you got to go back into your homes, get your blanket, get your firewood, get your heater, and say, oh man, the sun is gone, or he's gone. I got to go back in. And people on the beach are going to be like, oh, honey, we got to go back inside the house because fall is coming. Because when the sun falls, that's when summer ends. That's why you have the 3 months. You got July, August, and September. And she's gone. And when you hear Stevie Wonder come out, and she's gone, summer's gone. He's using a metaphor of the sun, the risen sun. It was fooled by winter because winter always ruled. Because summer only lasts of 3 months. After the 3 months, you better get your ass in the house, get you some summer clothes, spring clothes, because when the temperature, when summer falls, it goes back to winter. Gotta know your metaphors. So we got a cold summer coming, and we see how long the sun lasts, and see how God of the sun lasts. Because if he leaves, we in trouble. And that's when they're going to say, breaking news, we got to go, this and that, and there's going to be a whole bunch of mess. And then the restaurant's going to be sitting there trying, oh, it's too cold to sit out here. And then it's going to be raining and all kinds of stuff. And people ain't prepared for it. Yeah. I'll see you later, alligators. I'm speaking of yak facts. And I've been speaking facts on here for a long time. And now people now sitting there talking about Bruce, I see what you talking about. Yeah, you the outsider. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to somebody else because that needs to be enlightened. And big shout out to the BKS family. I've been doing this since 1998. In 98, people used to sit there and think I was crazy inside these mail rooms. And now they sitting there like, yo, you was right. Because I'm enlightening you because of the Son of God. Yep.